Georgie here. I just wanted to say a big thank you for all your amazing questions. They were so much better than any questions that adults asked me, and really insightful and full of meaning, and they made me think about my work more, so that was really wonderful. Thank you so much. I thought I'd quickly say hello. It's my first video. Because one of you asked me about travel and importance of journeys in my work, and yes, it is. And usually my favourite mode of transport is going on a train, although I do love cycling my bike. But because of lockdown, we haven't been able to do that. So I just thought I'd show you one of the walks that's really special to me. Someone else asked me about places that are special, and place and landscape are really important in my work. And this is a really beautiful forest that's near to my mum and dad's house, and actually places that I like to visit again are familiar to me, so I like to go back to places that I know from near my home or near where some of my friends or family might live. So place is really important, and I don't know if you can hear. Oh, they've just stopped, but there were loads of beautiful birds singing in the forest today. And they're another thing that really captivate me, and I'm glad that you picked up on that. I love thinking about birds because they are so magical, that ability to fly, but without any engines or noise. And for me, I guess we get to see birds a lot more than we see other animals, so I think it's probably that I'm drawn to them because I can still go out looking, even in the city, because I live in the middle of London. I still see lots of birds. So I'm drawn to them because I get to experience them in my own life. Right, I'm going to go back to the studio and answer some more of your questions. Bye. Hi everyone, back in the studio. It's very cold, so I've got my blanket. That's what happens for artists, they have to work in cold spaces. I'm going to answer some more of your questions. Yes, art was my favourite subject at school. I always loved it, even from primary school. And how would I describe my job? I work in a gallery and I run their education department, so I get to work with children and adults of all ages, and we make art together and look at the exhibition that's on in the gallery. And I'm really lucky because I get to work 4 days a week doing that, and then the last day on Friday is when I work in the print studio, which you'll see some videos of, and that's when I get to make my own work. So yes, when I'm making work, I really like to listen to music of all kinds of types. It's really useful in the studio because sometimes some of the jobs can be a bit boring, so it's nice to listen to music. Sometimes I listen to podcasts. But also I do listen to the sounds of nature, and I listen and I have some time. If I'm concentrating and I need silence, then I'd like to work to that too. I'm going to show you, I've got this is one of the books that I've made with my dad that one of you asked me about, and yeah, you also asked me about some of my smaller prints too. So I work with all sizes, but I really like working small because one, it's very easy, and it means lots of people can see my work, but also it's nice to capture these little moments in just a very small scale. But I would like to do some really big working. And yeah, we collaborated with my dad because he likes to write poems, and we realised that a lot of his poems were kind of like a lot of my artwork. And it was really lovely to work together, and it brought us closer together as well. So I would really recommend maybe collaborating with a friend, or you could work together with one of your family to make something. That would be great. Now I'm going to show you what I'm up to on my desk, so hold on. So this is my desk at the moment. I've got some prints here that I'm going to do some I've been adding some drawings to them. See a cheeky bird. And then I've been looking at maps. As you know, I like travel, And then these, I've gone into nature and I've made my own paintbrushes, and this is something that you could maybe do. And I've been experimenting with mark making, so this is what I've been working on, looking at objects in the landscape. Let me see if I can, experimenting, doing some drawing with ink, and just making some marks with these new brushes that I've been working with. It's really, really fun. You can see all the different lines you can get. This is made with a feather. It's very delicate. Let's see, some more feathers and objects. This is quite different from my prints, and then this is what I'm looking at the moment, is ancient burial sites and stuff. So yes, this is my workspace, and I'll tell you a little bit more in a second. So I'm just going to answer some more of your questions. One of them was really good, was about an amazing fact about a bird, and this is one of my favourites. I really like migrating birds, and I found out that when they're little, they don't naturally know. They can just sense where to go, and I think that's amazing. So they have this kind of sixth sense of where they're meant to migrate and the route that they go on. And Arctic terns, they're really big, they're not big, they're kind of small gulls, seagulls. They fly almost 50,000 miles a year. So they fly from the top of the Arctic down to the Antarctic and then back, and they live about 30 years. So my fact for you is, an Arctic tern, if it lives for 30 years, can travel to the moon and back about 3 times. How amazing is that? So yes, I'm fascinated with birds and their ability to amaze us. Why do I like photography? I like it because it captures the moment, and then I use photographs a lot as inspiration for then making drawings and prints from. And I work with limited colours, yes. So I work with kind of natural colours, I guess. When I'm making etchings, it's mainly in black and white because you can only really use one colour. And I like sepia brown tones as well. But then I have started making more works. I don't know if you can see these ones. There's some green in that one. I always like a little bit of gold. I tend to use a bit of metallic. That one's black and white. This one has got some kind of browns and golds. So yeah, I like to keep them natural, not too bright. And how do I decide on the title of my artworks? This actually does take a long time, and I realised that at school I also really liked writing and poetry and things. So at first I would just write some boring titles, maybe like Sun and Moon or Over the Sea or something like that, just kind of describing. But as the more and more artwork that I've done, I've kind of become more interested in secret meanings and thinking about the inspiration. So, for example, looking at ancient burial sites, it might be all about memory. These ones are called, let's have a look. This one is a recent one that I've done and this is an extinct butterfly. It's called the checkered skipper. And so this is an ancient burial site. This is called I Remember a Time When We Used to Be Free. So it's kind of a lot more things to do with me, I guess. I go to find quiet time in the studio. I usually get to have the whole place to myself and, like you said, listen to some music. And I found my style. It took a long time. So I worked teaching and mainly looking at your kind of work and working with children and materials. and then I started a printmaking class after work, just because I'd never done it and I wanted to learn how to. And that started me and thinking about my own practice, and I've been doing that for now. I must have been doing those print classes for about 4 years before I felt really confident, and now I've been printmaking for about 7-8 years now. Okay, so final couple of questions are about my inspiration, and I'm just going to show you quickly. This is my inspiration at the moment. Can you see this giant map? And this is of the bottom half of the UK, and then it goes all the way up to Scotland. And you can see it's full of ancient burial sites. So I'm really interested in history and archaeology. Can you see? And you can see Stonehenge. Some of you might have been there. And so I'm inspired by old artists. So really, like, the first people to make art is really exciting for me, and discovering those ancient burial sites and the objects that we found in the ground. That's my kind of main inspiration at the moment. And in terms of artists who I love and work that inspires me, there's a beautiful Renaissance artist called PIERO di Cosimo, and he has a particular painting that's in the National Gallery, so you guys could go and have a look at it. And he always paints really detailed, almost like stories in the landscape in the background, and that's kind of what I want to do in mine. I want people to feel like there's stories in my work. And then in terms of printmakers, I'm really inspired by a Nigerian printmaker who works in Scotland now. He's called ADESINA. He does these massive prints, and they've got, again, these landscapes with all sorts of surreal things. It will have like a whale flying through the sky. And another artist I love is also Scottish, Barbara Ray, and she does these beautiful, she uses much more monoprints and swishy kind of more painterly than my work. So you can be inspired by loads of different types of artists. You don't have to just like artists that are like your work. So yeah, thank you so much for your really wonderful and insightful questions. I hope that was helpful. I hope you like looking at the work, and I'm going to send some videos of me making my work as well. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.